myself, but I hope to pass this club on to people who are really interested and impassioned in it, which I have become in the process. But you know, so we can someday get bees on campus or like collaborate with people like you who have hives. I just think that would be amazing. So I just wanted to give some quick facts, the buzz on bees. So some of you might know this, but 1/3 of our diet relies on bees and the pollination, because we need those vegetables and all the things they pollinate. And if you're vegan or vegetarian, it would actually be even more than that, because you're solely plant-based. So you really rely on bees. Raw honey produced by bees actually provides antioxidants that can enhance brain function. And then over the last several decades, unfortunately, bee populations have been rapidly declining in some areas by almost 90%. So that is, you know, a big part of why we're working to combat the global decrease in bees and, you know, just create a better habitat and environment for them to thrive. So this is our mission statement, just so you can kind of get an idea about what we're trying to do here. So Bee Club is a group of students who are interested in learning and educating the community about the impacts that bees have on the environment. The club will work to learn and educate about the roles of bees and their importance. Club activities will focus on helping pollinators and finding ways to counter the global decrease of bees. So then, just sort of our overarching goals are to build off of that mission statement that I just read to you guys. Bee Campus USA, again, I'll talk about that in a little bit. We have to fundraise an annual membership fee, and we've already done that for this year, so that's really awesome, with people buying masks and things. So thank you if you guys supported us in that. And then bee hotels, which we'll cover a little bit later on, just providing resting and nesting areas for bees so they feel more comfortable in our environment. And then just get to know each other and have fun, because I know, you know, when you talk about big scary things like if all the bees die, we won't have food, you know, it kind of scares people away. So we try to just make activities kind of fun and welcoming. We meet once a month, and then we try to sprinkle events in between to just get people in and doing things, and you know, not worrying about, you know, global crises, like, you know, are kind of an issue nowadays. So Bee Campus USA, this is an organization run by the Xerxes Society. The Xerxes Society is working to help conservation of invertebrates, so lots of your pollinators, insects, things like that. So bees are, of course, included in this. And some of the criteria that we have to follow in order to be a bee campus are to create and enhance pollinator habitat. So on the campus, the grounds department has been absolutely amazing in working with us to create like natural prairie areas and pollinator-friendly plants, and just areas in general for bees to be able to thrive. And actually, this year, in a few areas on our campus, we will be participating in what's called No-Mow May, where you let some areas just grow naturally instead of mowing the lawn for a while, so that those bees can come out of their winterized nests and just sort of, you know, start to foster the environment, wake up, and start doing their busy work. We have to reduce pesticides. River Falls is already amazing at this. On the south side of the University Center, we already don't use any pesticides for fear that it would go into the South Fork of the Kinney River that's near us. So that was a pretty easy one to cover there. And then we have to offer education on pollinator conservation. There are a few classes that do this, and we also cover a lot of it in the club meetings and things. Service learning projects, we do a lot of campus cleanups and garden bed cleanups with the grounds department. So we kind of like do weeding, planting plants, things like that. Display signage, we have lots of signs that have been provided to us by the Xerxes Society and Bee Campus that we post near those natural prairie areas and things like that. An online presence, I mentioned earlier that we sort of started up some social media, so we have Facebook, Instagram, and then we send out regular emails and things like that, just to keep people kind of in the know. And then, of course, the membership fee that I mentioned earlier. These are a couple photos of past events that we've done. The masks in the top there are what actually raised $400, I think, to cover our initial application fee, and then some to help us do the DIY lip balm event, which is that little yellow bag there. So that was a really fun event because it was sort of in the heat of COVID, so everyone needed a mask, and then everyone needed things to do at home. So we were able to sell masks, and we were able to support a local apiary in buying some of their beeswax, and then distributing supplies for people to make their own lip balm at home. So that was really fun. In the middle, on the top, we had a speaker Zoom in. He was actually a family friend who is just starting his second year of beekeeping, and he was telling us sort of what it takes to start up an apiary and then maintain it from there, because that can kind of be the hard part. You know, everyone can get supplies and buy bees, but keeping them alive, especially through the winter, that's the hard part. So that was an amazing event. We had a huge turnout for Bee Club, at least, because we're still growing. And it was just really cool to learn so much again, because I personally am not super knowledgeable, but I feel like, you know, I've got a good base knowledge now. And I hope a lot of our members did too. So in the top right, we did a little tree planting with the Office of Sustainability and Grounds one year. And so that's a picture of me planting a tree, and then a bunch of different sustainable organizations could bring like a little craft or something. So we did DIY bee hotels where you take like a can or a jar and little strips of like a paper bag that you roll up to make little tubes. And you put it in the jar and you can hang it from a tree or something, and it looks kind of whimsical, and it provides that little resting and nesting area for bees. And then in the bottom left, we had a sustainability fair, and we brought out some more bee suits, and people were able to dress up and try them on, just promote sustainability and get to know other organizations in the community. And then the bottom right is the idea of kind of what our meetings look like, and that was just a social where we brought the members together to kind of talk about what we wanted to do for the semester and things like that. And there was snacks and candy and whatnot, so we try to have fun. So these are an idea of spring activities that we do. We want to make a big bee hotel. So I like get excited sometimes and I go on a little Google deep dive. And I wound up on the internet and I found a picture of that top photo, which is a big bee hotel that a club did. And I was like, okay, and I emailed Jennifer Allen, the supervisor of the grounds department on our campus, and I was like, can we do this? There's gotta be a way. And that is actually on the bottom, sort of the blueprint that our builder drew up for us. So there's a couple spots for an active hotel, and then signage as well, so that'll help us keep our bee campus affiliation. So I'm really excited. That should be happening later this spring. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, we also do garden cleanups and things like that, educational signage. And then we would love to tour local apiaries. So again, if you guys are working on the hives here, we would love to hear from you. Come out and tour that, maybe help out if we're trying to like reinvigorate the life in those nests. That would be amazing. And then it looks like you guys already know about this or will know about this, but we have a big event coming up through the Office of Sustainability called Earth Fest. So that'll be on the 24th of April from 2 to 5 in Glen Park. And we're going to have a table, Bee Club will have a table. And yeah, it should be really fun, lots of fun activities, people getting together. But just real quick, I wanted to talk about bee hotels. So it's kind of a common misconception that all bees live in hives, but some bees are actually solitary. So that's why these bee hotels are really important, because they need, they don't have a hive to go home to, so they need spots to rest and nest, like I've been saying a lot, fun little rhyme. But also those bees that do have hives, they can travel really far, so they need to take a break sometimes. So it's really important to keep those bees protected, because again, you know, if they take a nap on a blade of grass and someone mows the lawn, that's not going to be so good. So again, no homemade bee hotels, it's all important. So it's really fun that we are making change on campus and trying to do different things. So these are some ways to get a hold of us and keep up with us if you're so interested. So we do have a Facebook, Instagram, a brand new email, and then our website, which just got made last semester, which is very exciting. If you go to uwrf.edu/sustainability, there's a tab on the left, and you can go down to Bee Club and Bee Campus USA, and it tells you all about our committee and things like that. So if you're ever looking for more information, you can check us out there. And then I did want to share this because it is near and dear to my heart. You heard me kind of hyping up the grounds department all the way through this petition. Unfortunately, there is currently a task force on campus trying to evaluate the importance of our grounds and custodial staff. And it's really upsetting because they are very, very, very important, and instead of giving them better benefits, they're looking to outsource to other people who don't even treat their employees that great. So if you wouldn't mind, this might be a little unconventional, but if you have your phones on you and you wouldn't mind scanning this QR code and signing the petition, that would be absolutely amazing, because we would love to keep our grounds department right where they are, and let them know how much we love and appreciate them. And I can put this back up there. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe I can get the link from you separately, and we'll include it on our newsletter next week.
Absolutely, I'll email it to you, no problem. But yeah, this is really important to me. I love the grounds department, and Jen is one of my good friends on campus, so thank you so much. And then that's about all I've got. I would love to open up the floor if you guys have any questions, comments. I would love to hear them. And yeah, thank you so much for having me, guys. Yes.
Now, did you say that you just started with the connection with the USA group?
Yeah, so that started it would have been my junior years when we got that affiliation.
Okay.
So just last year.
So before that, the club wasn't associated with a bigger club?
Correct. It was just sort of our campus club, but now our entire campus has this affiliation with a big organization, and they've actually been boasting about it at like all of their big like statewide meetings and things. They're like, "We're a bee campus," so it's a really cool recognition, especially because we are such like a baby club right now. So to hear the chancellor say how proud she is of us, it's really cool. Yeah. Yes.
I hope that support carries on, again, with the grounds.
Yes.
It's a huge thing with what campus has done. And so when you talk about not using pesticides on the in-town campus, I'm wondering, is Lab Farm adapting any of its space? I know that they do things with trying to plant, different strips, and they do study different techniques out there. So I'm just wondering if that's affiliated to.
I'm not entirely sure, but I could definitely look into that and get back to you about that. I'll talk to Jennifer about that. Yeah. Yes?
As a fundraising idea, if you do build your big bee hotel, you could sell cells to people for $25.
That would be fun. That's a really cool idea. Thank you. I also wanted to mention just this past Friday, we did another Whitmore event, but this one got to be in person. So we were in the UC. We had our little melter, melting beeswax and vitamin E and coconut oil and all that. And people got to decorate their little containers, and then we filled them up and they got to take them home. And we have a lot of extras, so that'll probably be a fundraiser at a later date as well. Yes?
This current rendition of Bee Club, did that come out of the old Bee Club? I know Dr. Brad Mogan in the biology department was doing a lot with bees. He probably still does.
Yes, so Dr. Mogan did start the Bee Club. They did things where they sold honey and chapstick out of his personal hives. And funny story, Jen, the woman from Grounds that I've been talking about, her mother-in-law actually co-runs hives with Dr. Mogan now. So we're hoping to get out to those hives later this spring once they do winterize. But yeah, that started under Dr. Mogan. Once he retired, they didn't have an advisor, so they went to Mark in sustainability and were like, "Please save us." So he kind of took them on, and that's when it started. It was like a big bee, and then when Dr. Mogan left, it kind of like sunk a little bit, it expanded a little bit more, and then it like sunk a little bit. But now I think this is sort of the biggest we've been. So it's exciting because I think it's been around since 2014, roughly. So yeah, it's awesome. Thank you.
Your organization's sort of like ours, big and small, tries to get big again.
Yeah.
Just another question, it's unrelated. So you want us to support the grounds crew at the university. Am I incorrect? The janitorial staff was already outsourced?
They are actually not outsourced. They are in-house right now.
They're in-house right now, okay.
Yep. But they with Grounds are up on the chopping block right now, unfortunately. So Yes.
Yeah, would that change eliminate the student positions? I mean, is that kind of part of the problem?
I would expect
I would
so.
expect it too, and like, I mean, that's been really,
Yeah.
again, one of the things that makes it such an awesome program
Yes,
is this
yeah,
job
'cause
on campus.
I worked for custodial before I went into sustainability. I know the people, it's wonderful, and like, not to mention, like, this has been a concern, like, we don't know how thorough background checks, and these people are gonna be in dorms and things, and like, those are students' homes. You know, it's a little concerning, and, you know, we know and love the people who are here now, and I would rather just support them and keep them where they are. So, yeah, thank you. Yes.
And so I ran a survey center on campus, and you probably took this little survey on academic day when you were a freshman, and we asked all the incoming cafe students what it is about River Falls, River Falls that attracted them. And every time, it's the beauty of the campus, the small nature of the campus, and all that. So, I mean, it's an actual drawing card, a magnet for students, and so having a beautiful campus is really important.
100%. Like was mentioned earlier, I'm from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, which is 4 hours away. This wasn't necessarily my first choice of school for that reason. But like, once we toured here, spring break of my junior year of high school, I was like, I felt at home. I came from a smaller school. I had like 80 people in my graduating class. So like, I didn't necessarily want to jump like from where I was to like UW-Madison, you know, this big statewide school. But like, once I got here, I like drove down Main Street. We came back during Christmas time, and Main Street at Christmas time is my absolute favorite. I could be in the lowest of lows. I could drive down Main Street when they have those lights, and it's just, it's the best thing. But yeah, it feels like home. The people, they say hi. Like, I have multiple professors who are like, I've gone to their office hours and I'm like, I don't know this, I need help, and they like, they'll give me their number. I know the custodial staff, I know the ground staff. Like, it's just a cohesive community, and like, it's so sad that like, I feel like they've devalued those people. But yeah, thank you. Yes.
How do you keep wasps? How do you factor wasps into the people?
Right. That's kind of a hard question, because, you know, they are everywhere and they can actually be predatory to bees. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure on that. I know Jen has some tricks, because like, you know, if you try to keep wasps away, sometimes they'll keep bees away as well. But I think the important thing is just keeping, you know, the actual pollinators strong, and, you know, hopefully as long as they've got the numbers and the strength that way, it'll be enough to combat the wasps as well. Yeah, I think I saw it.
Yeah, I was wondering about that bee club, or the Bee USA again. Is it just for schools, or is it for any business, or is it, who are the membership? I mean, your club is part of the membership. Who are the other members?
Right, so there are two divisions, I believe. There's Bee Campus USA and Bee City USA. So River Falls, if it's not already, could be a Bee City. So yeah, the next thing we're working on is actually getting our Tree Campus affiliation, which is a whole other thing. But yeah, I think River Falls already is a Tree City. But yeah.
But it's not a bee city yet. So, do you know anything about that process? Would it be similar, like
I imagine it's very similar.
decreasing use of pesticides, additional plantings?
Right, so like if we were able to provide proof and documentation showing that we don't use many pesticides, and maybe show that we do have like signage in our parks and things like that, and then as long as there's a standing committee and like a website, that should be enough in addition to like the application fee. So I imagine it's similar, I'm not entirely sure. But
I kind of wanted to ask one of our beekeepers here. Maureen said something last week, I think, about a county ordinance, or trying to work towards something.
Right, our little group is trying to start a campaign to stop people from mowing, like from their front step out to the pavement, right down the ditch, out the other side, just like it's their lawn. And the towns and county are mowing more aggressively now too. And so what we're trying to get is, to go at water quality and soil conservation and pollinator habitat by at least leaving a strip of the larger vegetation in the lowest part of the roadside.
Right.
Off the ditch. And, I wonder, do you know of any, it'd be kind of cool to have a bee county.
Yeah, I'm not sure about countywide. I know there is a bee city, but I'm not sure about countywide. But I have spoken with some city representatives before. I can't remember their name off the top of my head, about no mowing. I did like a mini research paper, and I was like, this is really good if they're, because the funny thing is I talked to my dad. I was like, we shouldn't mow our lawn this way, and he's like, no way. He's got way too much pride in his yard, and I know a lot of people are like that. He always gets so mad when he sees the neighbor mowing the lawn, and he's like, no, I gotta do it. But yeah, so I think that's gonna be the hardest thing is, everyone loves their curb appeal, but yeah, it's kind of like your house will look. Yeah.
The thing that people have to have a different idea, different mindset.
Right.
Change your eye. So that,
Your lawn could look good for a month, or you could, help save a very important insect.
yeah,
That's
but you
crucial.
could say what looks good.
Yeah.
We could change what looks good.
Sure, yeah, I see what you mean, like kind of flip the
Right.
stigma there.
Yeah, I think that's what's great about your club and about people just seeing the normalization of that on campus and how attractive it can be. I'm really proud that I call it my garden, because it's like most of my grass is clover and what people call creeping Charlie, but I call ground ivy, because again, it's like reframing how I think about it. It's like, it's green all year long. Like my neighbors are mowing their lawn in July and they're still mowing it, and it's just like, my yard is green, and in May it's violets, it's all purple, and and so I feel so much joy because of that, and I know that it irritates some of the people in town, but like that's the whole point, is that like it is obvious that I'm making a choice to leave things standing and to and then they do come by and say like, look at how alive, and so I think you're right, Maria, it's just reframing it, and it does sometimes take ordinances. When new developments go in, and again, they all have irrigation and green lawns, and the emphasis is on sod. I grew up in Illinois, so like sod farming was a thing that always seemed so stupid to me. Like it just always seemed ridiculous. And seeing that we're still stuck in that mindset is frustrating to me, and I think that the awareness that your club is doing, and again, that's one of the things I love about River Falls, is that our campus and those values, like that's the whole point of the Wisconsin idea, this university system, is that people in town can also benefit from the research and the things that are happening on campus. So I'm, as a community member, and I'm super excited, and Maureen, I wish you luck, and I think that like, just again, raising the awareness, and when we leave those lands, put up a sign as to why it's there, having no moment is like, hey, we're doing this for a reason, and it is going to hopefully have that ripple effect if people see something as a prairie and know that like, oh, it doesn't have the aesthetic, but then when they see the life that can happen there and how enjoyable the space can be, I think it takes time, but it's
absolutely. And speaking of stigmas, we were talking about, how people might like their lawn a certain way. The stigma of bees themselves, and like bats and other pollinators, everyone loves butterflies, but what about bats and bees? Everyone's like, I don't want to get rabies, I don't want to get stung. Like, if you kind of just leave them to do their own thing, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, with the hotels, like I really like that idea too, and I think of that when people see the bees all congregating in an area, because they have nowhere else to go. Like they don't necessarily, they might want your food and your streets and stuff, but again, they would rather be doing something else. So by making those spaces for them to go do their thing, then people actually are safer than trying to just eliminate everything. Because then again, those creatures are going to come for any precious resource. So, what about water? Is that, again, on campus, you're fortunate to have wetlands and areas and things like that, but is that addressed with the hotels?
Not within the hotels specifically. The hotels mainly consist of wood and like those cylinders that I had mentioned earlier in our DIY project. We probably won't be using paper bags for this because we want it to last a little longer. I think we're looking at like treated cedar right now. But yeah, so I don't think we addressed water too much, especially, I don't think I looked into it because we have this out for, I was like, they'll be fine. But yeah, I could look into that a little bit. I think I saw your hand.
Well, you've got a prime captive audience on Maine and Cascade. Why don't you put an area that's a no-mow May area, if you can get grounds to go along with this, and advertise that that's exactly what you're doing. Put a sign.
Yeah, we
People
do
driving
have
by
some.
can see that that's what's happening, and it's a way to advertise the event. And
Yeah, we have only certain areas that were approved. I'm not sure where exactly those are, but yeah, we do have signs that will be going up to kind of explain, like, oh, grounds is being lazy. Like, no,
Yeah.
no, we're doing this on purpose. Yes.
So back to the mowing, I wonder, and this is something you could try with your dad, is when we have, on the way out to our house, go by, these people, and they have quite a large front, a lot of land in front of their house, and they let it grow, just grow, but they mow a frame around it,
Okay.
and it looks really nice. You
Yeah.
know, it looks like they know it's not mowed, that's how they like it, and
Yeah.
it looks good.
I was even thinking, like, even if, like, what if we just leave the backyard alone and, like, you can still have your front yard, your curb appeal, and just.
Yeah, but also, I mean, you could mow, you could, like, do these shaped areas of your lawn that you don't mow, where the
Yeah.
white, the Dutch white clover and stuff can grow. And it's just a little spot in your lawn where that, you know, and maybe
Yeah.
every year let it get bigger.
My neighbor did that one year when I was little. He let his grass grow and then he made a little maze for us kids. Yeah. Yes.
Now, I've seen, I think they were the hotels or whatever that they're bamboo
Yes.
for the little tubes.
Yeah.
And that's really resilient.
Right. We have some smaller ones that we're going to be putting up at some point. Like you can find them just on Amazon for like $15, and you can actually get bamboo replacement ones because you know after a while they get used. And you can kind of see like the bees kind of put like a little seal or like the tubes will fill up or something.
Oh,
And then you can pull those out and replace them with
Nice.
new little cylinders. Yeah. All right, is that all, guys? Thank you so much. I wasn't expecting nearly as many questions. Usually when I give a talk, people are like, I don't like bees. Like, this is awesome. I love talking about this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.